Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Know Better, Do Better with Jess. Today's video is all going to be about mom guilt. This episode has been in the works for over 6 months, so I'm hoping that you guys can take something away from it. I took a lot away from it, and if you know somebody else that needs it, pass it on. Here we go. Mom guilt. We've all got it. It's kind of like cellulite. Even supermodels have it, but it's airbrushed out. But that's exactly what those perfect moms on social media are doing too. It's always there, under the surface, and nobody wants to admit that they have it. First, let's stop the undue mom guilt. Not every mom is going to be able to have a natural at-home birth, breastfeed, use cloth diapers, only buy organic food, stay home with the babies until they go to school, cook 3 meals a day from scratch, and run a Girl Scout troop. And they shouldn't. It's also not decisions that you should just make one time and forget about. Revisit those decisions. What works for your family right now might not work 6 months from now. You might have to go to work. You might get to come home from work. You might be able to run a Girl Scout troop. You might have to pay somebody to take your kid to the Girl Scout troop. It's just not the same all the time. Don't be afraid. It doesn't mean that you made a mistake the first time you made the decision. Do what your family needs you to do and don't feel guilty about it. Just because it's hard doesn't mean you're failing. Some mothers really struggle with the first years of life, and some are baby whisperers. Some make amazing mothers of preteen and teenagers, and some don't even know what to do with their kids once they hit puberty. I'm one of those. But we as women have got to quit beating each other up, start circling the wagons and being each other's cheerleaders and support group. Y'all, we have all robbed our kids. We've said no when we should have said yes, but we knew that the cleanup would be horrendous afterwards. We've snapped at our kids when they didn't deserve it. We've hidden in the closet to eat chocolate because we don't feel like sharing. Maybe we let the baby cry for a minute just so that we can pull ourselves together. We've given them cookies for breakfast. We've ordered Chinese after a 2-hour-long grocery shopping trip where you bought everything to make that from-scratch lasagna that you saw on Pinterest while you forgot you were not the barefoot Contessa. Am I the only one that has a squeaker or a voice box or a rattle in a drawer that you removed from that bane of existence of a toy that was sent to your child by a relative or a friend that you know secretly hates you? And that's if you didn't just throw the entire toy away at the first opportunity. Have you missed a parent-teacher conference? Skipped giving them a bath one night? Let them watch The Incredibles for the 9 millionth time because you just couldn't find the energy to put together that super educational craft that includes gluing macaroni to paper and covering it with glitter? So what do you do when you feel like you're failing? Like you just brought home the bronze, silver, and the gold medal in the worst mom Olympics. When you really feel like turning in that 2-week notice, but then you realize you don't even know who to call to tell them that you quit. First, give yourself a mom timeout. No, you don't get 2 minutes for every year old you are. Yes, I actually did learn that in an early childhood education class. So untangle that child that's holding onto your legs, go sneak out that hidden chocolate, and go find yourself somewhere quiet, whether it's in your closet, in your bathtub, or out on the back porch, anywhere you can go to just get a breather. Do you remember the day you found out you were going to be a mom? The first time you ever heard their heartbeat or you felt them move? The way that baby magic lotion smelled after a bath? The way after rocking them for hours to sleep you didn't dare move because you knew they would wake up? Do you remember the first time they said mama? Or the way they held your finger like you were the only thing that was keeping them tethered to this earth? Now that your blood pressure is down, let me tell you what I know. You have survived 100% of the worst days of your life. And this too shall pass. Maybe like a kidney stone, but it will pass. I believe there's a spiritual calling to being a mother. God has entrusted you with the very souls of your children, which He helped you make. And there's this weird thing about God. He doesn't call the equipped, He equips the called. And He'll do that for you too. All you have to do is ask. So let's talk about God's parenting. So in the very beginning of the Bible, God, the perfect Father, creates the Garden of Eden, the perfect world, has 2 teenagers, Adam and Eve, who He teaches right from wrong, tells them exactly what to do and what not to do. They go outside of the rules, talk to some really bad friend, make a bad decision, try to hide it, and God still has to punish and kick them out of the house. If that's what God does as a perfect parent in a perfect world, how are you supposed to do it and never make a mistake? So now let's talk about when you're having one of those terrible, horrible, no good, very bad days. Sometimes when life just gets off kilter, you really have to just throw it off its track. If you can't get your kids to stop bickering, go in the other room, turn on some really loud dance music, and just start dancing. They will wonder what in the world has happened to their mom, but they'll laugh and everything will come back together. If that sounds like something that would be like a sensory overload for your child, break out the art supplies and start getting crafty. Sometimes you just have to pick up the keys and say, hey, let's go get ice cream, or let's make a trip to the park. If you're having one of those never-ending bedtime routine nights, just throw it out the window and say, hey, let's go build a pillow fort. We'll all camp out in the living room tonight. Or let's have a lights off bath. Cut off the lights, run some warm bath water, maybe with some bubble bath, and throw glow sticks in the water. It's probably not going to work with your teenagers, but do what you can. Now let's work on your expectations. Every mom needs a break and help, and you're going to have to learn to ask for both. Maybe you can do it all, but you can't do it all every day. Remember, you're doing the best you can, and that's enough. You're probably doing better than you think you are, I promise. Your kids don't want a perfect mom, they want you. I promise in 30 years they won't remember these little mistakes that you made. And if they do, there's a therapist for that. What they will remember are the voices that you used to use when you made them bedtime stories. That really good apple pie that you always made. Waking up in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve because you just found your mom cussing in the living room floor because she couldn't figure out how to put the Barbie dream house together. Measuring you for that homemade Cleopatra costume. Or the way that she did your makeup for prom. Or putting her pearls around your neck on the day you got married. Even the way that she embarrassed you when she used to sing the Beatles' Happy Birthday song inside the movie theater when she let you skip school and go watch Titanic. Yeah, all that was my mom. Was she perfect? No. I can promise you she would have never cloth diapered any of us. She probably didn't know what an organic whatever was. She didn't get to stay home with all three of us kids all the time. She did it part of the time when we needed it. But you know what? She's not the perfect mom, and I'm not either. But she was an amazing mom. And the fact that you have mom guilt tells me that you're an amazing mom too, because you cared. So now your timeout is over. What did you learn? Are you sorry that you beat yourself up? Now go back in there, use your words, no biting, and raise your head up high. It's the only way to wear that much deserved crown.